Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
What a pleasure to talk with Laurie Krieg. She and her husband wrote a book called An Impossible Marriage, What Our Mixed Orientation Marriage Has Taught Us About Love and the Gospel. Laurie, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
We are doing well. This book came across my desk. Well, I should say it came across my email because I'm still working from home. I'm assuming if we ever get back to the office, Dan, we'll have a mile of books on my desk. But
Probably so.
Yeah, but I saw this in the email and I said, this piques my interest here. So I wanted to talk to you about your life with Matt there. First of all, let's define something. What is a mixed orientation marriage?
Yeah. So when I was getting married, I didn't know I was getting into a mixed orientation marriage, which is what we wrote the book on. But essentially what it means is the default sexual attraction of at least one of the spouses is not toward the gender of their spouse. So put another way, when I struggle with lust, it's toward women. And yet God has called me to marriage. Not everyone like me to marriage, but he called me to marriage. Therefore, I believe it's marriage to man, because I believe that's God's only definition of marriage. So really, we unpack in our book questions we get either non-verbally with like a wait, what? or verbally with wait, what? So we unpack what that means and how it works.
This was also a part of the I can't remember if it was in the video or on the book. It says she almost left Matt for a woman, and he almost imploded their marriage with a porn addiction and deceit. And you guys so brave motoring. Well, I shouldn't say motoring through it. I'm sure there've been challenges, no doubt. But you put it in print form to help other folks. Just give us a little thumbnail of what happened, real quick.
Yeah. So the short version is the book opens with me asking the question, what do I want? Which that's really a question a lot of couples, married couples, no matter what they're wrestling with, can ask themselves. It's really like, what do I want? Do I even want this marriage? And some of us, we're like, well, we want to stick it out for the kids or whatever. God hates divorce. So here we are. But I was like, what do I actually want? And I put it all on the table. And I was at a silent retreat going back and forth with God. I left that wrestling with him with a conviction that, God, I want you. And so I want what you have for me, which you've called me. Again, not everyone like me, but you've called me to this impossible marriage. So now I'm putting it back on you. I'm asking you, this is on you to fix this. So I don't know how, I don't know if we're ever going to be physically close again, but you're saying, if I want your gifts, then I want you. And if I want you, then I want what you have for me. So not my will, but yours. So really the entire book, it's not just from my perspective. Matt and I go back and forth. We are unpacking, really the short version is Matt needed to dethrone marriage and sex in marriage from the idol he had made it. And we really both needed to, but I especially needed to see it for the gospel metaphor that it is. Which really, you see both of us land the plane there, is Matt put too much weight on the marriage. I put too much weight like thinking outside the marriage. And when we both put the weight on God in our marriage, I can't shut up about the beauty of it now. Not just our marriage, but like what God created is crazy.
Wow.
And with the issues of a mixed orientation marriage, now I'm sure once you had that silent retreat and had that time with God, everything's just fine, right? And I mean, nothing.
Definitely.
There's none of her problems at all now, right? Or is it a daily battle?
It was just like magic. The rest of the book is very boring. No, you hear us really wrestling through what I just said, dethroning sex and marriage from the idol it become and elevating it to the gospel metaphor that it is. So you hear us asking questions, what is marriage? But also, why is it male and female marriage? Not what's why not same-sex marriage? Those arguments did not save our marriage. Do you know what one huge critical thing did? Why is it male and female marriage? And I'm sure you guys probably know this is easy for you, but Ephesians 5 woke me up as far as 31 and 32. For this reason, a man shall leave his mother and father, and the two shall be united into one. It is a great mystery, but I'm talking about Christ and the church. Okay, how many marriage events have you guys been to where the first like 10th of it, maybe even 5th of it, is like gender jokes? The whole thing, like,
Yeah.
women are so controlling and annoying, and men are so dumb, and man caves and lows.
Right.
And I would hear those like eye rolls at each other, and I'd be like, why are you guys even married? You seem like you hate each other. And you're like,
That's a great point.
Yeah, that is a great point.
And then usually what people say is they're like, I know, isn't it hilarious? Like hormones trick you into marriage, and then you get married, and then you kind of hate each other. And then there's this thing, but all of a sudden it's like, surprise, you're in a covenant and God hates divorce. So good luck. And so here I'm sitting here and I'm like realizing like the questions I have, like, why is it male and female marriage? And why sex in marriage? These are the same questions my straight friends are asking. And so when I read that Ephesians 5 and something, the spirit, the word of God is alive and active, something about it, I saw, oh, wait a minute. Sex difference between men and women, if God has called us to marriage, is not a cosmic joke or cosmic punishment, because men and women are different. Right. How different, if this is an illustration of God and the church, his marriage to us, how different is God from humanity? He's far above every ruler and power and principality, not only in this life, but in the next life to come, in this world and the next world. It says in Ephesians 1:21. And so that wasn't the only thing, you're joking about, like, is that, everything was hunky-dory after that. But that was a critical piece, the theology, the beauty of sex difference that I did not get. That was a huge piece in me taking the next step, even toward counseling, and there were next steps. But I truly think that's a huge thing, guys, that we have got to stop the gender jabbing and start celebrating sex difference.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Laurie and Matt Krieg have a book, An Impossible Marriage, and it's what our mixed orientation marriage has taught us about love and the gospel. This book's been out since October. I think you said the 27th. So far, what have you seen? Other mixed orientation marriages popping up, and in relief that they've got something to gravitate to and read and help. And how is it helping non-mixed orientation marriages?
Yeah. So mixed orientation marriages are like, praise Jesus, there's finally a book for us. Because there's literally not one.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
There isn't. And it's not because, no one's thought of it. And maybe there is. Someone send me the link. I just haven't seen one, unless you're like want an open marriage, which that's not biblical, but I can find those books. But I am really encouraged, because it's not that no one's thought of it. It's that this is like a controversial conversation in a controversial conversation. So it's scary to write something like this. But when we were approached to write this, I said, all right, I'll talk about marriage through the lens of ours. I'm not going to only focus on, let's talk about all the different types of mixed orientation marriage and how does it succeed and how does it fail. I was willing to, through the lens of our story, talk about marriage, because that's what it is. It's just talking about this beautiful sex difference and what is sex even, and what's the point of it. And so to that question, what are straight couples saying? They're also relieved, because it's not reliant on gender joking. It's not reliant on all the horizontal, though that's like the conversations you have here. There's this God focus. The greatest thing that I keep hearing from people about our book, you guys, it's bananas. Not only from mixed orientation marriages, not only straight marriages, but from single people, is they're saying, this book leads me to worship God, which that's the story our marriages should be telling. Is it the gospel picture that when we die to self to be one with our very different spouse, we're showing the world a picture of how Jesus died to be one with us, and how we're to die daily to seek increasing oneness with him. our marriages preach the gospel, and it seems like this book is doing that, and that's so cool.
That's awesome. All right, not only the book, Laurie, let's touch real quick before we have to take a break here. Let's touch real quick on, you do podcasts as well. You've talked about like Jamie Grace. I saw Jamie Grace in particular on the website. Talk about the podcast, how folks can find it, and what you normally talk about.
Yeah, so you can go to lauriekrieg.com, LaurieKrieg. So all the I's and E's, but I before E. And our podcast is the Hole in My Heart podcast. So, we can allude to that God-shaped hole in our heart. But the purpose of it is to talk about how the gospel is good news for everyone, every day. We talk a lot about sexuality, gender, LGBT from the orthodox historical biblical view. I was just tired of having like certain conversations not allowed to be talked about seemingly in the church. And I was like, let's talk about them. But then let's not only talk about them, but let's put them in the greater gospel, gritty conversation. And it seems like people enjoy it.
Wow. Laurie Krieg here, and we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. And Ruth Malhotra just put a comment on.
I know her.
I love Laurie, and I'm grateful for her voice and faithful witness. Thanks for having her on the program. Ruth is a rock star of ours.
Ruth. Yeah,
we love her. She's amazing. We've got to have her back on the show. Laurie, we appreciate your boldness, both you and Matt. Thank you. We'd love to catch up with you in a couple of months, maybe after the first of the year, and see where you are. And we'll check out your podcast too. It sounds really intriguing. And thank you for moving forward and building the kingdom, helping so many people. LaurieKrieg.com is the place to go to. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.